What is up, guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. I hope you guys are having a great week, great weekend so far. I am currently filming this on my lunch break. I honestly wasn't planning on making a video for the weekend. I just have been super busy, kind of getting back to that healthy place from after my sickness last weekend. And so kind of still like battling the kind of last little bit of it, as well as getting back into the gym, school, work, just getting back into the swing of things. I have another busy week this week with a lot of exams because it is the last week before I get a spring break from college. So that'll be really nice to have that following week. However, this upcoming week is a little busy, a little stressful, but I still wanted to film a video for you guys today. I'm actually going to upload this same day because I reacted to this yesterday. But that is the Arnold Classic. I wanted to talk to you guys kind of about my thoughts on it, just mainly in the divisions that I pay attention to. Naturally, I am a man, so I tend to favor the men's divisions of bodybuilding. So that being said, in this video, I'm pretty much only going to talk about classic physique as well as the open bodybuilding division for the Arnold Classic. And this year was crazy. It honestly feels like everything that could have happened leading up to the show did happen. And that kind of led to a lot of crazy things happening. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it in person to the show. I know some of you guys might have seen that I did go to the Olympia in 2025 or back in October. That was a lot of fun. And actually, I plan on going to the 2026 Olympia. So looking forward to that. But I wasn't able to make it to the Arnold. But now that all the videos, all the kind of professional content is put out there, I can like kind of make my opinions, I guess you could say. Like, obviously I watched the live stream last night and I had my opinions from the live stream, but you don't really know until you see either it in person or the really good quality photos and videos. And so that's kind of what this is going to be based on. Now, I'm a little bit biased. I do have my favorites in each division and kind of who I wanted to win going into this. But overall, this is going to be kind of my thoughts, like as objective as I possibly can be as someone who just loves the sport. Starting off with classic physique, going into this show, there were some crazy people that it would have been a good battle. Obviously, Wesley Vissers, Mike Sommerfeld. There were a few other really good competitors that were coming into this show that were showing up, just like photos and all that stuff that were really impressive, honestly. Going into this show, Mike Sommerfeld missed his weight cap, which he thought he was going to be taller, so he decided to put on more weight, assuming he was going to hit that higher weight or higher height, and he didn't. He stayed at his height cap, and so he missed weight, so he didn't compete. And this is a guy that got second in the Olympia, won the Arnold last year. Like, this is someone who people thought was going to be a front runner going into this show. And then there was another really good competitor. I don't remember his name exactly, but he slipped prior to the competition and like tore a tendon in his leg, and it was crazy. I saw a video. It was like black and blue, bruised. And he was a guy who I had seen prior, and his updates were really impressive. And so that happened, and then naturally, there's not much more competition when it comes to classic physique. When it came to those two guys, and since they weren't competing in this show, Wesley Vissers kind of became the only guy that people thought about. He became the guy that was, as long as he showed up looking like he should, with his improvements like he's been talking about, he was probably going to win. And so when I found out that Mike wasn't competing, Wesley Vissers kind of became my obvious choice for who I thought was going to win. Obviously, prior to this, it was very close between the two. However, I know that Arnold, and at the Arnold Classic, they tend to prefer the very classic-looking physiques. And so I thought Wesley Vissers might have won regardless of if Mike Sommerfeld competed or not. But he obviously won. That was kind of what I expected out of classic physique. Wesley Vissers showed up with some crazy improvements. His legs looked a lot better, which is easily his biggest downside. Obviously, his physique looked really good. He did a great job. I think he will perform well this year. But yeah, with Mike Sommerfeld, it would have been a lot closer. But I think without him, it was pretty obvious that he was going to win that show. Now moving on to Open, which is probably the craziest thing that anyone's ever thought. Obviously, you have the front runners going into the show. Martin Fitzwater, you have Hadi Chopin, you have Nick Walker, and Andrew Jacked. All four of those guys are top 6 Olympia guys. So obviously those are going to be the front runners going into this show. Now, a lot of people expected the placings to be very different from the Olympia, and they ended up being exactly that. After prejudging, in my opinion, I had Nick Walker in first. He showed up unbelievable. I got to see him at the Olympia where he was a little more disappointing. And he ended up in 6th place behind all the guys I listed. And he showed up just lights out. His waist was tighter. His legs were bigger. Everything was more carved out. It was crazy. I've never seen that kind of leg detail out of any guy in the Open division as of now. And I think a lot of people agree with that opinion. When they were doing back poses, Nick Walker's hamstrings were literally, it looked like the Grand Canyon. It looked like you could carve, like it was insane. And compared to the other guys, he made them look like they were off. He made them look like they were 4 or 8 weeks out in their lower body. So I had him winning at prejudging as well as just the overall show. I had him winning. It was absurd. His showing is probably the best I've ever seen him. And just really congratulations to Nick. Like, obviously, he ended up getting second at the show, and I'll get into that. But overall, Nick Walker, crazy showing. Compared to the Olympia, it was like night and day. Just really impressive. Martin Fitzwater showed up very off, super carved up, watery. He spilled over in prejudging. He got a little bit better in finals, but just a really terrible showing from him, especially after Prague, where he performed pretty well, as well as in Olympia, where he kind of performed where people expected. So just a really bad showing from him. He was drenched in sweat. He ended up getting 4th. A lot of people argue that he probably could have gone down to 5th, which I kind of agree. But he showed up better for finals, and so 4th, that makes sense. Now, 3rd place is Hadi. The guy that got 2nd at the Olympia just got 3rd at the Arnold when he wasn't competing against the 1st place Olympia guy. He wasn't competing against Derek Lunsford. And so that was a crazy shock. I do agree that Nick showed up better than Hadi. Hottie did not show up great in prejudging. He got a lot better in finals, but I do believe I would have had Nick beating him just overall. So Nick being in second and Hottie being in third isn't as absurd, but in my opinion, having someone beat both of them, according to the scorecards, the judges had Andrew Jack beating both competitors for both days, which I do not believe that is accurate. I don't know what the judges are really looking for anymore. When it comes to just pure size, muscle, conditioning, there was no one, and just overall peak. Like Nick Walker literally peaked better than everyone else. He carbed up properly. He was dry. There was not a competitor that did any of those aspects better than Nick Walker. And so having Andrew Jack beating both Hottie and Nick Walker in both rounds seemed a little absurd to me. He has a great physique, and he did very well at the Olympia. Seeing comparison photos, I honestly liked his Olympia look better, and that was when he got third to a better Hottie and a kind of off Derek. So, in my opinion, I can see him beating Hottie in a way. I just really am having trouble seeing him beating Nick. I think the judges are docking Nick too much for his structure, which he cannot control. But overall, Nick Walker, it seems like he's super happy with his placing. I'm super happy with how well he did. Overall, a very interesting show. Honestly, watching the show and just all the divisions, seeing all the convention clips and stuff like that, or expo clips, it made me want to go. I'm bummed I didn't end up going. I almost decided to go last minute, and I didn't. And seeing all that stuff, how the judging went, how the actual show went, how these competitors showed up, it really made me regret not going. So having that regret, like I said, I'm going to the Mr. Olympia this year. I need to experience that again. It was so awesome being surrounded by so many just like-minded individuals. So I highly recommend that if you have the opportunity to go to any of these big events, if you're into the world of bodybuilding, or maybe you don't really know yet, if you're into the gym at all, go to one of them. I promise you it's going to be worth your time, money, and just they're a lot of fun, regardless of if you're like the most knowledgeable person when it comes to bodybuilding. It's just a lot of fun. So I will be going to the 2026 Olympia. Super excited for that. But overall, that's my thoughts on this 2026 Arnold Classic. It was a great one. Super proud of all the competitors. Like I said, a lot of the guys showed up incredibly just what people expected. Wesley Vissers, Nick Walker, both of those guys essentially showed up like they were talking about. They showed up with better legs. They showed up with good conditioning. Like for Nick Walker, great, incredible conditioning. And that's what this is about. Showing up and doing exactly what you said you were going to do, I think is like 70% of the sport. If you can show up, say, like back up your words and just show up exactly how you want to and present your body exactly how you want to, that's the name of the game. And so that's kind of it. I know this was a bit of a rant, but I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I will film another video here in like a day or two for Tuesday talks. Feel free to tune in for that. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like and subscribe button and tune in for more fitness content regarding all topics, both my own journey, other people's journeys, bodybuilding topics, all that sort of stuff, training, feel free to tune in, hit that subscribe button. And just remember to keep working hard every single day and to make people remember your name. Peace out, guys. I'll see you in the next one.